All right. Y'all just heard the great intro music, which means it is time to get started with another episode of the Designated Players Podcast. Episode 42? Question mark?
Why don't we do this stuff ever before
I
we
say we
start?
always this is our professional podcast taking over, baby. You know how we do.
Episode
Episode
41.
41.
Yeah, close enough.
We are that's how life works, man. That's how life works. You get busy, you forget how to do things, but we are back. Listen, World Cup is 2 months away. It's time to figure out who goes where. This episode is all about depth charts. What do we see? Which, spoiler alert, is what's true. Don't listen to anybody else out there. We are giving you the true and the only true information. Um, but yeah, so we are just going to give our depth charts, goalkeepers, center backs, left backs, right backs, center mids across the board, left wing, right wing, and striker, which is always going to be fun because we got lots of words to tell you about our strikers. But before we do any of that, I'm here with Connor. Connor, how you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for finally introducing me now that we're
Yeah.
like,
Nobody cares about you. Like they only listen for the first 15 seconds. Then once you start talking, they turn it off. So
well, the first 15 seconds is usually just the opening clip now. So they just don't listen to us, period, then at this point.
awesome. I love it. Um, we have to go to Scarf of the Week, right?
Yes, we
What
do.
are you rocking?
I don't have a US scarf to fit the theme, so why not go with a little homage to American football with the team that scored a touchdown this last weekend, FC Cincinnati. They missed the extra point, but that's all right.
So I also wanted to pay homage, but I wanted to bring out a new scarf. Oh, wrong way.
No, you can't. What
I'm rocking the Quakes, baby.
what homage are you paying, huh?
I'm paying the homage of teams that need
Thank
a
you for letting
massive
six
rebound.
goals.
Massive rebound.
Okay.
So, I mean, after we've done that, shall we just jump right into it?
Yeah, might as well.
Where do you want to start?
Let's save striker for last. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up.
I agree. I think that's a great idea, Connor. Look at us on the same page. You and me taking the world on, DP
Yeah,
pod style.
something like that.
Uh, all right. Well, here's the deal. I'll let you go first. How many goalkeepers do you have in your depth chart? Were you able to put into your depth chart?
I got five on there right now.
So do I. I think we probably have the same five. Why don't you go from five to one? Let's
I
make it
bet
even.
we have them in different orders though.
I bet we do.
5-1. All right. Might as well start off this episode with a bit of a hot take here. But I'm actually going to change my mind.
Boo.
Start off the episode with changing your mind. At five right now, I've got Slanina. So originally, I wasn't gonna have him there because I just swapped him with the guy I just moved up to fourth. But obviously, Gaga's got massive potential. Kind of cautiously optimistic with his move to Chelsea because we saw how that happened with Miazga. I really don't want to see that massive potential he has just get wasted. And we're seeing a lot of American goalkeepers go over and play backup in England, and I feel like it hasn't been great so far. So I think he started off the season red hot for Chicago. He cooled down a little bit, but obviously he's still incredibly young, getting game time week in, week out, which is super important. So he's 100% on my depth chart. He's only going to move up more. I was very tempted to put him four, but I think I want to drop him down a little bit because I think the guy at four has more experience with the team recently. And that guy is Ethan Horvath. So I've gone with Ethan at four, which probably is getting the Euro snobs really riled up right now. We're starting it already. Um, and I think I'm going to mention my three as well. At three, I've got Sean Johnson. So I went with Sean Johnson over Horvath because I think Sean Johnson's had a really strong year this year. And Ethan is currently playing with, I believe, Luton Town in the championship.
Correct.
Um, who are sitting in 18th right now in the championship. Granted, looking at the goals and goals against, it doesn't really look like it's his fault majorly. They've only conceded 8 so far this season. It's really, that's not anything to do with Ethan. It's not like he's just letting goals in left and right, but still, he's playing in a team that's struggling a lot in the championship, whereas Sean Johnson's playing for a team in MLS that is in the playoff hunt, obviously, like strongly in the playoff hunt. I
Struggling in the playoff hunt, might I add.
they're comfortably in there.
Four
They'll get
losses in their last 5 games.
they'll get their spot soon. They'll still make the playoffs. Uh, but yeah, I think Sean Johnson's had a really good year. I think if Horvath gets a good run of form and Luton starts to move up the table, I can definitely see him jumping Sean Johnson at some point. But I think the fact that he's been playing week in, week out, like every single season, he has experience with the national team. I give him the slight nod over Horvath right now. I mean, realistically, I don't think either guy is going to end up playing in the World Cup. It's really just a matter of like who's training with the team, who's there in case we absolutely need it. Um, so yeah, I got Sean Johnson at 3, Horvath at 4. Then the top two, it's between Stefan and Turner. For me, this was pretty easy right now, just based on form. I've got Stefan at 2 and Turner at 1. I think recent national team form was the one that tipped it for me. I think Stefan has struggled in the last couple of games playing with the national team. Struggled enough that I think he opened the door for Turner, and I think Turner's done enough in his chances to lock down that number 1 spot at the moment. But we'll see what happens because Turner is now playing back up at Arsenal. I don't know how much game time he'll have going into the World Cup. I think maybe Stefan gets enough game time, gets a really good run of form. He takes that spot back from Turner, but I think it's going to be pretty tough.
Didn't you say that we had it at, all right, first of all, give it to me in order. We got to do it for TikTok.
Okay.
Give it to me in order, 5-1.
5-1. Gaga Slanina, Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, Zach Steffen, Matt Turner.
I thought you said we had them in different orders.
Well, because I originally had Gaga Slanina over Horvath, but I changed my mind on that.
We have the exact same order, sir.
Nice.
I've got Gaga at 5, Ethan Horvath at 4, Sean Johnson at 3, Zach Steffen at 2, Matt Turner at 1. Basically, for all the things that you said, Gaga's got potential, but is playing in a Chicago Fire team that should be, winning the Golden Boot race, up in 6th place in the playoffs. Should be, but they're not right now, which is okay. Ethan Horvath, I think, is just a step below um, the other 3. He's played for Luton Town. He's only had 2 clean sheets in 8 games, conceded 8 goals in those 8 games. So, it's not like he's leaking goals, but he's just not at that level yet. Sean Johnson, um, obviously in that NYC playoff hunt. If you watch him play, you know that he is the reason they are still in the playoff hunt. Very, very good player. Um, Not as good as Carlos Cornell, but that's besides the point. Um, Zach Steffen and Matt Turner are 1 and 2. Obviously, they always have been. We've talked about it since, gosh, all the way back in 2021. And I mean, Matt Turner is the backup at Arsenal. Zach Steffen is the starter at Cardiff City, I think or no, Middlesbrough, excuse me. And Zach Steffen has not lit the world on fire at Middlesbrough. He has his mistakes. He hasn't, it's not like you're seeing these clips of him saving, everything and anything. Um, and while we talk about how important it is to have good form coming into it, the lack of bad form is also important, right? So you've got like good form, you've got bench, and then you've got no form or really bad form, right? And that's a scale there. So if you're coming in with bad form, it's almost worse than putting somebody in who doesn't play week in and week out. So I'm with you there. I go with Matt Turner. We probably should have said beforehand too, because we wrote it down and we talked about it. Our judgments over this, what we're doing, it's what club team you play for, how many times you are playing for that club team, the performances that you are having for that club team, like we mentioned, Zach Steffen not lighting the world on fire for Middlesbrough, and your recency or success with the national team in their history. when we talk about what club team, it isn't Eurosnobism. So we're not going to say, oh, you play on Arsenal. You're clearly better than Sean Johnson at New York City because he plays in MLS. That's not how that works. Matt Turner is just a better goalkeeper right now.
Yes.
Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I feel like goalkeeper was pretty straightforward for us.
Yep. Now we move into a fun one. Let's go right up the middle. Let's go to center backs. Shall I start?
Oh, we're going right into center backs, huh?
Shall I start?
Yeah, start us off. Start us off.
Okay, so here's the thing. Um, Players like Miles Robinson, who we know are not going to be in the mix, are not included. So we have not included players who are injured and very, very likely will not be involved. So that being said, number 6, Eric Palmer Brown. I have 6 here. I don't think they're taking
You
6,
have
but I have 6.
you have six like across, like not six for
Just
each
center
center
backs.
back spot, like
Just center
six total.
backs.
Okay,
Just center backs.
got it.
So I don't think that they're taking 6, but if I had to rank my top 6, here's who I have. I've got Eric Palmer Brown. I've got Mark McKenzie at 5, Chris Richards at 4, Aaron Long at 3, Cameron Carter Vickers at 2, and Walker Zimmerman at 1. Players who were left off the list. Miles Robinson, we spoke about. A couple other players who were in the mix in 2021. I really focused a lot on players who were involved over the last 2 years, outside of any really young guys who might have broken through. Gaga Slanina, for example. Um, I didn't include people who were like never played before. Um, that being said, John Brooks is out. John Brooks is not in my top 6. He hasn't played for a club. He just signed for a club after leaving Wolfsburg a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So he can't be in the top 6. He hasn't played in months. Anybody who says he just gets in because he's been living in Europe is out of their mind. The reason I have Aaron Long so high because I want to put Aaron Long lower. But Chris Richards hasn't gotten in. Mark McKenzie's performance at Genk and has been okay, but his performance with the national team the first time he came in was shocking. And Eric Palmer Brown was the same deal when he came in the friendlies over the summer. He was not great. I think Cameron Carter Vickers and Walker Zimmerman are 1-2 going into the World Cup. Aaron Long would be the third guy in. He'd be the sub if we need it, or the rotation guy against a weak team like England or something. John Brooks doesn't make this team, nor does he make my top 6. I don't even apologize because he hasn't played. So I'm not sorry about it, and the Eurosnobs can come at me.
Well, they're gonna have to come at me too because he is not in my top six either.
Come on!
I will say off the bat, I have the same six players in my top six, but in a different order.
We're going good.
Yeah. So I've got Eric Palmer Brown at 6. I've got Long at 5. I've got Richards at 4. Hot take, I've got Mark McKenzie at 3.
Is that how thin we are? Goodness me.
Listen, I know Mark McKenzie was really bad the last time he played with the national team, but that was a while ago. I'm hoping at this point it felt like he was just nervous. It felt like it was a lack of composure. I'm hoping now that he's settled in more because he's been. I mean, I think you kind of undersold his performance so far this season, but he's been really, really good with Genk this season. He, I mean, granted, this is obviously subjective, but he has a very good rating on SofaScore. And Genk is sitting second in the Belgian table right now with 1 loss and 1 draw on the season and 6 wins. Only 9 goals conceded. I mean, they looked really good. And I think Mark McKenzie's been playing, I think, every single game. He's gotten consistent game time. His team is playing really well. The Belgian league is a strong league, granted, not top 5 league, but a strong league nonetheless. I will say I do think it is a little thin at the back line. Like I think obviously Miles Robinson would jump in front. Um, but I think if Richards gets more consistent game time, I'd jump him over McKenzie. normally I'd put Aaron Long over there too, but I feel like maybe you could tell me more, but I just feel like Long's been struggling lately, or just Red Bull a bit overall have been inconsistent in defense. And then my starting two is also Cameron Carter Vickers, who has been on a Celtic team that is just absolutely unstoppable in the Scottish League. And when I say unstoppable, I mean like, let me get the exact numbers because it was kind of ridiculous. 6-0, 25 goals scored, 1 goal conceded. That is absurd. And I believe he has played every game. So yeah, he should be starting alongside Walker Zimmerman.
I am going to backtrack. I get updates on basically every American player from FotMob, the app where you can follow players and they give you updates, right? And every time his name pops up, I feel like I always just see like a 6 or a 6.2, like he hasn't made an impact. Um, I was wrong. I guess I must have been thinking about somebody else because he is. You're right. He's been phenomenal. My memory cheated me. Um, so I will reevaluate and I will put out my list. Eric Palmer Brown at 6, Chris Richards at 5, Mark McKenzie at 4, Aaron Long at 3. I'm going to keep Aaron Long at 3. Carter Vickers at 2, and Zimmerman at 1.
Yeah.
And that's just because I don't want to copy you, honestly. I would very, very sooner switch Aaron Long lower. Actually, you know what? I wouldn't be copying you because you had Aaron Long at 5, right?
Yeah, I have him at 5.
All right, then let's do it this way. Palmer Brown at 6, Chris Richards at 5, Aaron Long at 4, Mark McKenzie at 3, Cameron Carter Vickers at 2, Zimmerman at. That's the way we'll go about it because again, I had shared some things before. I think Eric Palmer Brown didn't impress when he was here. Chris Richards, young and still hasn't really got enough top level game time. Aaron Long has been very, very poor for Red Bull in the middle stretch of that season. He's picked it up a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Um, Mark McKenzie, as we just spoke about, having a very, very good start to the year with Genk. Cameron Carter Vickers on a Celtic team that is absolutely torching the rest of the world. And Walker Zimmerman, the perennial starter forever. So, feel good?
Yeah. One thing I do want to add for the Eric Palmer Brown one, I understand he's playing at the top tier in France. But his team has conceded 15 goals so far this season, which is the third or fourth worst in the league. So he may be in the top level of France, but his team is not playing very well. And I also don't think that the bottom half of the French table is exactly like super strong. I'd honestly, I don't, I would take, I think, I'd argue that the top couple of teams in like Belgium are probably better than the bottom half teams in France. So
I'd agree.
I think Mark McKenzie's performance is way better than Eric Palmer Brown. Uh, but yeah, let me just read my list clean so you have it for the TikTok. So Eric Palmer Brown, uh, Aaron Long, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie, Cameron Carter Vickers, Walker Zimmerman.
All right, I like it. I think we for a lot of these spots are pretty much tied down, and there are very few that are up for grabs. But those are more in the attacking phase of the game. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But before we do that, let's go to left backs. Let's rate our
Yeah,
left backs here.
yeah.
How many do you have?
I've got 4.
I also have 4. Fantastic. Why don't you go ahead first? Because I started the center backs.
Okay. I would think we have the same 4, but we'll see. I have George Bello at 4, Sam Vines at 3, Joe Scally at 2, and Anthony Robinson at 1. Um, it was, I really think the Euro snob in me got to me because
I think so too.
it was very hard to not put Sam Vines at 2, to be honest with you, because very much like Mark McKenzie, Sam Vines' team has had a stormer of a season to start it off. They are 8-0 in Belgium, and he has played, I think, every game. So yeah, I think he has had a very good start to the season, and it was very tempting to put him over Joe Scally. But I will say Joe Scally has had a very good start to the season too. I know Mönchengladbach are sitting 8th right now in the Bundesliga, but his team has only conceded 5 goals. So he's doing his job. His team is not scoring I'm not going to fault him for that. He's a defender. Um, and I'm kind of riding the hype. I think Joe Scally had more recent involvement with the national team than Sam Vines has. So I'm giving him the slight nod over Sam Vines, but Sam Vines is a very close second for me. And then I'm keeping Anthony Robinson as the starter right now. I don't think he's really done anything wrong to lose it, in my opinion.
Okay. I also have the same four in a different order. I've got George Bello at four. I've got Joe Scally at three, Sam Vines at two, and Anthony Robinson at one, of course.
Yeah,
I
that's
actually
fair.
watched a Sam Vines game the other day. I
Wow,
was
you must have been pretty bored.
I was really bored. I turned on ESPN. I'm like, oh, I think Sam Vines plays for that team. So I turned him on. His ability to go forward in the attacking phase of play is something that fits into this system very well. We love our attacking fullbacks. They get high and get involved. Um, and Sam Vines is very good at that. Um, Joe Scally also did not impress when he showed up in camp. He had two different appearances and he was the worst player on the field both times. And that's yes, he's young. Nobody's going to call him out and say, "Oh, well, um, you can't fault him because yes, he's young." There's a whole reason that he didn't look good, but you can't bring him in just because of hype. He has to prove it, and he hasn't proved it. So Joe Scally goes to three, and Sam Vines to two for me.
I was very close to doing that as well, just because Sam Vines is playing very well right now. Um, I mean, I guess this goes back to your argument that you were making before, where you're saying a lack of bad appearances is better than bad appearances, or I guess a lack of appearances is better than bad appearances. Because I'm trying to look it up right now, but I can't remember the last time Sam Vines was with the national team. I think it was
I think it was the same camp that Joe Scally was there, wasn't it? Or maybe was
last
it the
the
one before it?
I think the last game Sam Vines has played with the national team was August 2021. Uh, which was the Gold Cup. So I don't know if he got called into camps at any point past that, but he has not played a game with the national team since the Gold Cup. So that was
You
my
are
concern for him, was that he's a bit out of I guess a little out of touch with the not necessarily the system, because I don't think the system has changed a ton from the Gold Cup, but maybe the players and getting some chemistry with the players. Because like normally I would agree with you that like no appearances I guess is better than bad appearances, but I just feel like it helps to get some appearances with the national team and get some familiarity, some comfort.
no, and I don't disagree, but I mean, I don't think either of them make the plane. By the way, I'm just throwing
You
that
don't
out there.
think they bring a backup left back? Or are you
No,
saying
because you'll put either Serginho can play on that side, DeAndre Yedlin has played on that side, Tim Reed can play on that side, not relatively well. Kellen Acosta can play on that side. I mean, it's not like we haven't used random people out there before. I don't I don't think that he. I mean, he might. I mean, we have 26 instead of 23 this year, so he might bring a second. That's totally fair. It depends on where we need the most help. Um, and maybe we have that conversation at the end if we have time. But who we bring.
yeah, I guess that's fair enough. I mean, I would like to see him bring one of either Scally or Vines. It's a tough call for me, in my opinion. I think they're both very like level. I genuinely do think I'm riding a little bit of like the Euro snob hype when I go for Scally there.
You are, and I will call you on it. But
Go
if he
for it.
brings, I think, I think if Greg is smart, I think he doesn't bring any of them because whoever he picks is gonna. If he doesn't pick Joe Scally, everybody's gonna lose their mind. If he picks Joe Scally, half the world is gonna be like, "Why'd you pick him when you could have picked this guy?" Leave them both off and
I don't know if enough people are thinking about Sam Vines right now, to be honest with you.
which is wrong, by the way.
It is wrong. I don't disagree with you. They should be thinking about him.
I mean,
But
think about it, right? How many people have made the move to Belgium and failed from MLS over the last 3 years? Tons of people.
Kyle Duncan.
Kyle Duncan, Kamar Lawrence,
Kamar Lawrence, yeah.
Amir
But a few
Murillo. I
of
mean,
them
all
also.
from Red Bull, so maybe there's a theme.
I was gonna say a few
Well,
of them have
actually, no,
stuck the
because
landing.
there very few of them have gone in and been relatively successful. So I think it's not a bad idea to bring him along. I think he's definitely matured since the time he's there. And if you're comparing Sam Vines' appearances as a men's national team player and Joe Scally, it's Sam Vines is clear.
Oh yeah,
So
Sam Vines has definitely played better with the national team.
sure,
It's just been a while since he played with them.
right, and again, now we're talking recency and comfortability and all that stuff that we've talked about before. I think Sam Vines is clear.
The one thing I would also add on the Sam Vines part is that when he played in the Gold Cup, a lot of those guys really aren't in the picture with the national team anymore. So I mean that just going back to that chemistry thing again, he played with Zimmerman and Robinson, which obviously normal in most circumstances would have been the two guys in the back line, which would have been good experience because I think Turner was in goal as well. But obviously Robinson's out. And then I think a lot of the people ahead of him on the field, like probably almost everybody, has been like rotated and it's somebody different that's most likely starting.
Yeah, totally fair. Totally fair.
I think you can
Um,
go either way and you really can't complain. Both of them
right.
are in good form. That it's a good argument to have. I'm glad we're not having this argument of like, oh, both guys have just been so bad. We're picking the lesser of two evils.
Correct. Correct. I like that a lot. Um, let's move over to the right backs.
Should we give a clean reading of our list? I could just
No,
take it
I
out of
got
the
him.
audio.
Yeah, I got him.
You got it? All right, all right.
Yeah, don't you worry about it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm an editing genius. You know I can get away. Going over to the right back spot. This is where it gets a bit interesting. I have another
Yeah.
six. Um,
I've only got four.
that's okay. I'll get going.
Yeah.
At six, I have Brian Reynolds. At five, I've got Tim Ream. We love a good bit of
Tim
Tim Ream.
Ream at right back.
Yeah, so I thought about maybe sliding him into the center back role, but I already had six people there. And I didn't think he bumped any of those six. So I figured let's put him at the right back spot because he can play both. We know he can play both.
Can he?
Yes. I didn't say he can do it well, but actually, he's been very. Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's been very good for Fulham this season. He's been one
But
of the best
is he
players.
playing as a right back?
I'm not sure where he's playing because I don't watch lesser leagues than MLS, so I don't really watch a lot of football anymore.
Oh,
I'll look
you
it up
don't
as I.
need to add more toxicity to the
I
episode
do. I
already. You don't.
absolutely
You
do.
really don't.
Like. What is the reason if I'm not doing? You know. It says that he's played as a center back, so yeah, but we know that he's played outside. So, anyways, I've got Tim Ream at five on my right back depth chart. So let me start over. So I got
Okay.
Brian Reynolds at six. I got Tim Ream at five. I got Shaq Moore at four. Reggie Cannon at three. DeAndre Yedlin at two, and Serginho Dest at one. And I think if I were, I
Hurt me
might
with
come
that.
back and change. I might come back and change that because I think the way I was thinking, because I made my defenders first before we had talked about it. I think I was making it as like predictions of how that team is going to be drafted, like when we go. Why don't you give me your four while I redo that? Because I'm reading that back. I'm like, this is terrible.
Well, the sad part is that's probably how it is going to be.
Correct. Yeah.
It is probably going to be like that's the correct depth chart, just not the agreeable one.
Yeah.
I did not even consider Brian Reynolds. I feel like he's completely like fallen out of the picture at this point. I know he's on loan right now to Belgium. He's played half the games for a team that has conceded 16 goals so far and is sitting in 12th. So I'm not even considering Brian Reynolds at this point. That move is really panning out to like it's really showing like it's gonna and unless he moves again, it's really showing like it's gonna kill his national team career. Uh, did not consider Tim Ream as a right back. Sorry, Tim. So yeah, my top four are the same guys, different order. I got Yedlin at four, only for the fact that I just know he's gonna get called in. I don't want to put him on my depth chart, but he's there. I went with Shaq Moore at three, Reggie at two, and Dest at one, obviously.
Okay, so when I made mine, that's how I put it. When I looked at it again, I'm like, okay, let's fix this. DeAndre at four, and then the same we did. So Brian Reynolds at six, Tim Ream at five, DeAndre Yedlin at four, Shaq Moore at three, Reggie Cannon at two, Serginho at one. I think right, like you said, Brian Reynolds has not really been in the mix, but he was at some point, and you know if we're talking depth, he is a depth player, right? Tim Ream, last case scenario type of thing. We don't want to have to call him in unless everybody else gets hurt. For DeAndre Yedlin, he just doesn't do anything for me anymore. Yeah, a long time ago when he was the first guy over, first homegrown to get sold overseas or whatever. Yeah, it was great. It's like 32 now, playing for a subpar Inter Miami team. I'm cool if we don't even bring him, but we're going to because
Yeah, we're going to.
what is Greg Ball without DeAndre Yedlin bombing up the wings?
Yeah.
Shaq Moore at 3, I think his move to Nashville has suited him well. Just there are parts of his game that still need to be improved. Reggie Cannon, I think, is just a better raw talent, right? Out of athleticism, physicality, all that type of stuff. I think they're equal on their services. I think both of them serve a really good ball, and Reggie is playing at an arguably higher level, doing the same thing. So take him, and then of course AC Milan's newest man, Serginho Dest. So glad he got out of Brocalona and moved into a team that'll appreciate him a little bit and actually pay him money. That's we love when people play for teams that actually like pay their players instead of force them to take pay cuts.
We do. We
The
do like that.
absolute frauds.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
nothing
send
more
that
to
clip
add
to my
there, really.
buddy.
Go ahead.
I said I'm gonna send
Is
that clip to my buddy, and
is he a Barcelona fan?
oh yeah, it's great. Total Euro snob. It's fantastic.
He's gonna love this episode.
Right to his veins. Right to his veins. Um, anything else you wanted to add on the right backs there? It seems like we were pretty much in agreement there.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add.
All right. Let's go to the center midfielders where we grouped the 6, 8, and 10 spot all together. So this wasn't like take all the people who are 10s and then take all the 8s and then all the 6 and rank them because too many people could be considered an 8 or a 10 or a 6 or an 8 or all three, right? Count Acosta could play like 9 different positions. So it wouldn't be fair to put him in just, one category and take away the beauties of his game in other places. So why don't you go ahead and give it a go? Because I went first last time.
Okay. I kind of broke mine down a little bit more by like play style of each position, and I think I have a pretty like good sense of starter and then backup for each one. So that kind of made up my 6. So in more of like the attacking center mid role, call it like I guess like a advanced playmaker, Metsala, something like that.
That's the number 10.
Sure.
No, not sure it is.
He well
That's how it works.
isn't I thought the 10 was like the like a more of a cam than like a center mid. Like I feel like
Yes.
this is a center mid. Like they start deeper and when they attack.
What you described is what we call an 8-10 at Alfred.
An
So
eight
basically,
ten.
they
Okay.
start
Yes.
deeper, but their roles are attacking midfielders.
Yes.
Whereas you have a 6-8 who start deeper and their roles are more of a defensive midfield.
Yes. 8-10 was what I was thinking.
There you go. We're getting into football knowledge. Connor knows ball.
Something like that. So the backup I have is Luca Della Torre. Starter is Yunus Musa. That to me is as straightforward as it gets. Then in the more, I guess, just flat out number 8 role, I've got Kellen Acosta as the backup, Weston McKennie as the starter. And then in the more defensive mid 6 spot, I've got James Sands as the backup, Tyler Adams as the starter. And that's my 6.
Okay, so read that in order again. Like
Okay, so
put
the
those 6 to 1.
well, I mean, I just have it as so the 3 backups I have are Sands, Kellen Acosta, Luca Del Torre. The 3 starters I have are Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa. If you want me to rank them 6 to 1, I will.
Who was your 5, 6, and 7? Sands, Luca Della Torre, and who?
Kellen
Kellen
Acosta.
Acosta. Oh, I've forgotten Kellen Acosta.
You literally mentioned him right before as you were talking about the position.
Well,
You
because
were
here's
like,
the
"Oh,
thing, right?
it's hard to we can't just go by position because Kellen Acosta plays 9 positions," and then you just didn't include him.
Well, because he's not top 6 at any one spot. I don't think.
You
Ah. All right,
what?
let me give you my 6, and we'll talk about it, and I'll give you my reasons why.
Okay.
Malik Tillman at 6.
Oh, I didn't
J-
consider him a midfielder.
Where did you consider him?
On the wing.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold,
I
please.
thought he played as a winger for us. I
I
know
think that's
transfer
where we
market
threw.
says up the middle, but
I think that's where we threw him out just to get him cap tied. But yeah, an A10, and he's playing very very well for Rangers right now.
well, that's let's put him on the wing then.
No, I've got wingers already. I don't need him there. You want to tell me Jordan Morris is getting bumped for Malik Tillman? No shot.
Why not?
Because I said so. Malik Tillman at 6, James Sands at 5, Luca Delatorre at 4, I'm sorry, Eunice Musa at 3, Weston McKinney at 2, Tyler Adams at 1. Again, same idea as you. 1, 2, and 3 can be interchanged. 4, 5, and 6 can be interchanged
Who
for
were
me.
can you say the backups again? I forget.
Tillman, James Sands, and Luca Delatorre.
So how come no Kellen Acosta?
I probably can consider him a left back and get him in this team, but I just don't know. I know he's going. I don't know if he's the best. I think he is a great option. So at Alfred, we've got players who will never really start a game for us because if we have players who aren't up for it on the day, they can play in like 6 different positions. That's what Kellen Acosta is to me. That being said, against certain teams, he's very, very good. I just don't know if we can turn away Malik Tillman the way he's been playing for Rangers so
That's why you take him on as a winger.
far. Yeah, you and your winger.
Just convert him. Brendan Aronson wasn't a winger, and he plays as a winger for the national team.
Convince me to drop one for the other.
Well, I would need to hear your wingers first before I convince you to drop one of because that's where I have him. I have him in the wingers depth chart, and I think Kellen Acosta is someone that should be on this list, and I feel like deserves to be on the list.
I'd say Kellen Acosta, Malik Tillman are 6, 7. Like you can flip them around. And again, if we were breaking it down simply as this player is a 6 versus an 8 versus a 10, I mean they both be in there no problem.
I feel like if you take Luca and you take Malik Tillman, you don't. I mean, I don't think you really have a great out and out backup for Weston McKinney. Then I feel like Kellen Acosta is the best backup for McKinney. I think Luca's better going forward than he would be in Weston McKinney's spot. I don't think Malik Tillman could play in Weston McKinney's spot, and I feel like Sands is better deeper. So in Tyler Adams' spot or even deeper in the field.
Let's get Christian Roldan in there then. We'll back up Weston. Call it a day.
Stop it. All right,
Uh,
let's continue and then we could talk about it again later.
well, no, because I want to get this right because I think
I
you
think
might be
Kellen
right.
I think both should be in there. Um I mean at the end of the day, if we have 26, you might be able to squeeze him in
Well, that's
anyway.
what that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Kellen Acosta at 7. Okay. So my list is gonna be Kellen Acosta 7, Malik Tillman 6, James Sands at 5, Luca Delatorre at 4, Eunice Musa at 3, Weston McKinney at 2, Tyler Adams at 1. And when we get to the end of this episode, we're gonna have time to make a list. I think all 7 of those go.
Okay.
I think you go 3 outside backs, 3 goalkeepers, 4 maybe 5 center backs. So that'll be 10 there. 17 with those center mids. And then you've got your choice of 9 wingers and strikers at that point. Yeah, you can get all 7 of them in there, no problem. You might be able to get an 8th. Christian Roldan might be on his way. Let's go.
Settle
Yo,
down,
somebody
settle
call up
down.
Sebastian. Somebody call up Sebastian. We'll get him along too. We got room for him. Let's
We can
go.
squeeze him in there. We got the room on the plane.
Heck yeah. Let's
Someone
do
can
it.
fly it. That's an extra spot.
I love it. I love it.
All right,
Yeah,
fine.
I
I'll let
think
you
I
know.
think they're all in there. I think Malik Tillman, based off of his, I will flip flop Kellen Acosta to go 6 and
You could
Malik
leave
Tillman.
Malik at
No,
6.
no,
That's fine.
no,
I'm
because
not
here's the thing: he hasn't proven himself, right? We were just talking. You've convinced me. And here's the thing: if I had to go one more, if I had to pick one more, Jordy Mihailovic at 8.
Yeah.
Hurt, transferred, but a very good player. So here's my 8. I'll go 8. Jordy Mihailovic at 8. Malik Tillman at 7. Kellen Acosta at 6. James Sands at 5. Luca Della Torre at 4. Yunus Musa 3. Weston McKennie 2. Tyler Adams 1. Those are my 8. And I think all 8 of those guys are going to go.
Wow, you think Jordy's gonna make it?
I
I,
hope. If I had to cut one of them, Jordy's the guy who gets cut because we've got enough attacking talent.
yeah, I think pre-injury Jordy would have definitely been here, but
100%.
I feel like post-injury Jordy probably just misses out.
I agree. Because he also has zero caps, or at least recent
Yeah.
caps, right?
Yeah.
So you're asking him to just come in and be fresh, but a guy we're about to talk about soon also has zero caps, and he's absolutely on the plane. So
Yeah, I have no. I'm not arguing against bringing Tillman. I have no arguments with that. I think I was gonna take him anyway. My only thing was that I just had him listed as the winger.
right, how do
I
you
think,
classify him? I get it.
yeah, but
And
yeah,
it
totally.
doesn't matter, right? Once you get a player on the plane, it doesn't matter where you go. You're not limited to, 5 defenders and it doesn't matter. You can
Yeah,
take
you
18
don't have
defenders
to
if you
like. Yeah,
wanted to.
it's not
Yeah.
like you must take 7 center mids.
Right, exactly. So that doesn't matter.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
shall we go to wingers? I combined right wingers and left wingers because I couldn't find a lot of pure left wingers.
Okay.
So I just have pure wingers.
All right. Why don't you start it off then? Because I gotta arrange mine in a top 6 out of the wingers then.
Okay. So my 6, Jordan Morris at 6, Paul Arriola at 5, Tim Weah at 4, Gio Reyna at 3, Christian Pulisic at 2, Brendan Aronson at 1. Brendan Aronson is better than Christian Pulisic right now. Anybody can come for me. I will defend that all day long. You cannot tell me otherwise. The dude's playing right.
Form
He's playing
wise,
right back right now.
Yes, form wise, Aronson is better than Pulisic right now. But talent wise, Pulisic is still the most talented on this team.
Bro, if you're asking me to list the top 3 Americans right now, it's like people who I would say are the best, like most talented players. It's Brendan Aronson, it's Weston McKennie, and then it's Christian Pulisic. Like I get he's the face of the team or whatever, but it's like think about when we won Nations League. Who was the guy who really stepped up outside of the ice cold PK?
Weston McKennie.
Weston McKennie. Who's been the best American in the Premier League this year? Brendan Aronson. It's not even close. It's not like there's an argument to be had. Pulisic is that far down on. I mean, and again, it's not far down. Like I'm not saying he's like middle of the table in terms of Americans, but he's not the best American, and we have to stop thinking that. I think if we take that pressure, and this is completely off topic, but if we take that pressure off him as being the best player and having to do everything all on his own like he did in 2018, he's a better player because he's not trying to do everything on his own. He's actually playing. That's just me. So those are my 6.
By the way, I have the same list. I'm very tempted to make the argument of Paul Arriola over Tim Weah because of the fact
I was close. I'm not gonna lie to you because you told me about how Tim Weah wasn't playing.
yeah, I don't think
I very easily I could.
I think I will, to be honest,
All right, read it out to me then.
because I want the Euro stop smoke, first of all.
Yes.
And because the real reason being that Tim Weah has not unless we're just completely missing it. But I've looked a few times and it does not look like Tim Weah has played a single minute this season so far. And
I will check FOTMob while you.
I just like I can't in my head say that like okay, if we got 2 winger spots, if he's at number 4, then he's number 2 at one of those winger spots. For a guy that potentially isn't gonna have played like 0 games going into the World Cup is just I know we talked about like no games is better than bad games. Oh, what is this? Give me the news.
Injured August 8th, expected to return later this month. So there he goes. That's easy then. That's an easy fix.
All right. So then I'm gonna keep way ahead of Arriola then. Because Ware has been very good with the national team. I thought he just got dropped because he just was out of favor. That to me is different than if he's injured. So yeah, I still think way over Areola right now, even though Paul's had a really good season. Yeah, I'll go with so Mora 6, Areola 5, Weah 4, Geo 3. I mean, I don't really care between Pulisic and Aronson at 1, 2.
Give it to me.
Aronson 2, Pulisic 1.
Wrong.
Just to make you mad.
Wrong.
By the way, Gio's only at 3 right now because he still has to come back from the injury. But I think
Correct.
give me like best of Gio is 1, 2 with Pulisic. Like assuming everybody's at their best, Pulisic, Reina are 1, 2 at this, in my opinion.
Everybody at their best, it's Pulisic 3, Reina 2, Aronson 1.
No.
Yes.
Pulisic at his
Stop
best.
it.
You
No,
think
no, you're out of your
Pulisic at his
mind.
best is worse than Aronson at his best?
Right now, yes.
No, I'm not saying right now.
Oh, you're
Like
talking like all time. I thought you, so
like if
when you said
Pulisic
that,
hits his best form,
like
like
of all time ever.
I just whatever you think their like top level is. I think
I
Pulisic
thought you
is.
were talking about like this year, like
Well, I mean,
recently.
I don't know. Like Pulisic may have like a full season turnaround with the new manager now. Who knows? I mean, I'm just saying. I think
Graham Potter's gonna turn it into Brighton ball. Just say go chase it.
who knows? But I think Pulisic's ceiling is higher than Aaronson's ceiling. Same thing with Reina. But Aronson just is on fire right now in terms of form. And I think form should carry a lot of weight. But I'm just saying, I think Pulisic and Reina, once they find form and get better performances with the club team, they'll jump Aronson in the depth chart.
Okay. I mean, you're wrong, but okay.
If you really think that like Aronson's top level is better than Pulisic's top level, I think that's crazy.
I think you are comparing a Pulisic player, like I don't know, maybe, maybe. I'm just saying, watching Brendan Aronson press and win the ball back and create chances for leads is more influential than basically anything Pulisic has done for Chelsea in his 3 years there. That's all I'm saying.
Pulisic is yeah, he carried Chelsea's team when they were coming out of the lockdown after COVID hit. He is the
And he got
only
hurt.
well, he got hurt later on, but when he came back and they were playing behind closed doors, he was carrying that team. And he's the reason that they made Champions League. And then guess what? The season after they made that Champions League, they won the Champions League. So ultimately, you could say Chelsea won the Champions League because Christian Pulisic was on fire. When Brendan Aronson can say that, then I will say Brendan Aronson's top level is better.
This is the only time I'm ever gonna say this. Go get him, Euro snobs. I'm tired of this nonsense.
Why would they? This
Go
is like
get him.
the Eurosnobs love Christian Pulisic. Why would they come after me for this? They would come after you.
Get him.
One of them has played in Europe his whole career. One of them started in garbage MLS. Go get him, Eurosnobs. We know who the villain is.
Bro, I got the lead supporters on my side. They'll support me.
I love me some good Brendan Aronson, and his form does, I think, put him ahead of Pooley right now. But I'm just saying, like Pooley just needs to hit like decent form, and I think I'd put him above Aronson in the depth chart.
I think you're comparing the potential that Pulisic has to what Brendan Aronson
You think this is like as good as we're gonna see Pulisic ever again?
honestly, maybe. The fact that he won right
No,
back
stop
last
that.
year, maybe.
Stop.
All right, move on to striker before I punch you in the face. We need to do these live one of these days so I can actually hit you.
Uh,
Next time
who
you come
wants
to
to start
Alpha,
this off? Who wants to get yelled at by the Eurosnobs first?
I went first last time, so you can have it.
All right, Eurosnobs, this one's just for you. This one is specifically for you. All right, I've got 5 strikers on my list. And at number 5, it's your star boy, Josh Sargent, because I can't wrap my head around as to why this guy is suddenly number 2, number 1 on the depth chart because he scored 5 goals in the championship. This guy scored 2 goals last season across the entire season. 2 goals. It's great that he's hitting form now, and I think he should be. This is why he's in my depth chart. Period. If he was just continuing this form of last season, he wouldn't even be in my consideration. But because he's got 5 goals, now I'll start to consider him again. But he's playing in the championship. We talk we talk a lot about like, oh, is MLS up to par with championship standard? And I feel like a
Yes.
lot of the time we say yes. So like if Josh Sargent moved to MLS and scored 5 goals right now, you think anybody's considering him top 2 in the depth chart? No chance. No chance. You're absolutely out of your mind for doing that. Um, I'm gonna move on now. I've got Brandon Vasquez at 4. I've got Haji Wright at 3, Jesus Ferreira at 2, and I've got Jordan Pifak at 1. Period. Done. No explanation needed.
Okay. Um, I got 6. I included one Ricardo Pepe after his loan move. Um, I put him at 6 simply because he's just getting back into the swing of things. He wasn't really successful at Augsburg. Maybe this will jumpstart things. Who knows?
He got a
I
loan
also,
move. Sorry, not to cut you off, but
yeah, to Grogenheim in Eredivisie.
ah,
Got an assist today.
he had an assist.
Yeah, go
No,
on,
he's
go on.
back. Ricardo
He's in.
Pepe is back, baby.
Hey, do you see Jordan Lewis scored a screamer last night?
Colorado's getting hot right now. Better watch out. Jordan Lewis might sneak into this team.
Um,
And Giassi's artist.
I had him at like 7 just for memes. Um, so Ricardo Pepe at 6, Josh Sargent at 5, Haji Wright at 4, Brandon Vasquez at 3, Jesus Ferreira at 2, and Jordan Pifak at 1. We talked about Ricardo Pepe, Josh Sargent, same thing for you. This dude, everybody was crucifying him last season, saying this guy doesn't deserve anywhere near a national team. Why do people keep thinking he's good? All of a sudden, he goes and scores a little bit in the championship, which you mentioned perfectly, is equal level to MLS. And I will die on that hill. The top 5 teams in that league are better than our best. From 6 down, it's exactly the same. The level of play is bad. The talent is basically the same. It's literally just who's more physical on it. And this is where people are like, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about. Those people have never sat down right after COVID ended and watched Daryl Dike in the championship after his first. I watched 6 of his games. They were terrible. Outside of when they were playing like the teams that were getting just terrible. So Haji Wright, I have under Brandon Vasquez. He has moved to Antalyaspor. Um, just not off to as hot of a start as you would think for somebody to be in that.
What do you mean? He's
What do you
got
mean? What I
five
mean?
goals in 5 games.
Yeah, but he got like
What more do you
3.
want
He
from
got he
him?
got 3 of those in one game.
So what? The whole team has 8 goals the whole season. He has 5 of them.
Yeah, but he's also a pen merchant. He got like 3 of them off of pens.
Who cares? Who
I
cares? Let him have the
care.
pen goals.
Oh my god. Let me.
He was the Turkish league top scorer last season, was he not?
Was he?
I thought he was.
I don't think it was in Turkey though, unless he
He
moved
was. He
east
was
to
on loan
Turkey.
there last season.
Okay.
I will fact check that while you keep going.
Okay. Well, you do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 6 games. He's only actually scored in 3 of them. And yes, you're right. He is literally the only person to score for his team outside of a club friendly.
That's
Was
what I
him.
mean.
But
So he's got no help and he's still managing to score goals.
hold on. Yeah. So he got one of them on a penalty, and it was on the end of a 5-2 win. Then he got a brace against a team that beat them by 2. Oh, you're gonna really make me drop Brandon Vasquez? Don't make
Yes.
me do it. All right.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm gonna say. He's got all of his team's goals, but he doesn't play for FCC, and because of that, he is 4. No, like listen, I think
If if I
I hate
confirm
using
that
it.
he was the top scorer last season, you have to put him over Vasquez.
I don't because Brandon Vasquez is in the Golden Boot race this year and is in
So is
form.
so is Haji. What do you
Oh my
mean?
god. I don't want to drop Brandon Vasquez. Stop making me try and drop him.
Where can I find this? Goals, goals, goals. Where is he? Okay,
All
he
right.
was not the top scorer last season. I don't believe.
Thank you.
but he was top 10. He scored 14, but he also played a lot less minutes than a lot of the people ahead of him.
It kind of sucks. I was going to use the fact that Brandon Vasquez went off last night, but he actually didn't score.
I know, 6-0. I don't even think he had an assist.
No, he got subbed out early.
All right, so
Um,
goals per 90, Haji was sixth last season.
okay,
I could have sworn I saw someone say he was top scorer, but I guess
somewhere.
not. All right, listen, still 14 goals last season in that league in 1900 minutes. I'm giving the nod to Haji. I mean, he's playing just as strong this year. He played really strong last year. Why would he not get the nod?
Yeah.
I get
So
it.
again,
Vasquez is playing well this year, but like it's one season.
Vasquez has 16 and 2400
Yeah.
and 5 assists. So here's the thing. Again, this was the same thing with Mark McKenzie from recency bias. Every time his name came up, it was like a 6.2 on FUTMob over the last 2 weeks. So he didn't score. That's why it's in my head that he's just down, right? Yes, he scored 5 goals in 3 games or whatever, but well, nope.
No, come
I'm
on.
not.
Don't be
I'm
that
not
way.
giving. I'm not giving into the Euro snob. We're
Get him,
going to
Euro
have
snobs.
two.
Get him.
We're going to have
Get him.
two MLS strikers in the top 3 in the depth chart. If
DM
I
me.
have to
I'll
die
dox him.
for it.
DM me. I'll give you his address. You could show up at his house.
You don't know where I live. Not anymore. I am going to put two MLS strikers in the top 3
Oh,
if
the
I have to
Euro
die
snobs are
for it.
gonna kill
I'm gonna
you.
do it. I'm gonna do it.
Go for it. You're wrong, but go for it.
But here's why, right? So we joke about it, but here is why. And you are gonna have to back me up on this because I'm using your words against you. Back in an episode, which I cannot remember, you described our lack of ability to be successful at the national team as being caused by the fact that we have a manager who manages in an MLS play style with European players. So why wouldn't we include more MLS players who are playing at top form right now to fit a system that Greg uses that is very MLS like?
Vasquez has never played with the national team at all.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to play with the national team to score goals. Just get in the box and put your head on, which is what he does.
Yeah, you know who's got a better shot to get his head on the ball? Haji Wright. He's 6'3".
Yeah, Brandon Vasquez is 188 centimeters. That's like 120 more than him.
Not the centimeters. Can we get that in freedom units, please?
It's 6'2". What do you mean? It's the same height.
Hey, the extra inch could matter.
You bum. Anyways,
Um,
his movement off the ball is good. And listen, I'm not going to be that guy.
you already
I
are.
think I think Brandon Vasquez is playing with better players than Haji Wright. So when you put him
Yeah,
around better
100%.
players, he'll be successsul.
It's more like if you actually give Haji some talent, maybe he'll be banging in goals left and right.
All right, hold on. Freeze. What? You're going to make me get mad.
What?
Haji Wright played how many games for the national team?
I think like one.
He's got 3. Okay.
Uh-huh.
In those 3 games, he had 1 goal against Morocco, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was a penalty.
It was.
Yep. Scoreless against Uruguay and scoreless against El Salvador in the CONCACAF Nations League A group, which was right after those friendlies.
You know who else is scoreless? Brendan
Brandon
Vasquez. Yeah, exactly.
Like?
You can make all your funny noises all you want, but
We can't sit here and say that players are being picked over other players based off of ability to play with the national team and not give Brandon and just not put Brandon Vasquez in there because we're not getting a shot.
I'm not
He
putting
should have been.
Vasquez
He should have been called in last camp, and he wasn't. That's not his
because
fault.
Haji was.
Yeah, and what did he do?
Oh wait, no,
Score
no,
a
no.
pen.
Haji wasn't. I don't know if Haji was last camp.
So
He was I think last World Cup qualifying camp. I want to say.
yes, yeah. So here's the thing, right? Do you have any other changes that we want to make?
I think everything else we were the exact same. I think it was just those two.
I agree. So here's the deal: USMNT play 2 friendlies, September 22nd and 27th. Let's assume it's a 26-man roster because I think that's what they're going to be able to bring. Pick your 26 right now.
am I assuming like our goal is take the guys that we want to take for the World Cup?
Yes, because I know we had that conversation about do you get all the new guys in, do you try and get everybody together? Let's assume that they're going to take people to mesh and to figure out um, what the starting 11 is going to be out of the 26 that they take.
All right, so I'm gonna read through. So this would be my 26. Um, I'll say ahead of time that I have Reina in this, so I will swap Reina for somebody else. But this would be right now.
Assume
This
assume everybody's healthy. Assume
okay.
everybody's healthy
Um,
because I want to know who your 26 is for the world.
Goalkeeper, I've got Turner, Stephen Johnson. Right back, Dest, Reggie Cannon. Center backs, I've got Walker Zimmerman, Cameron Carter Vickers, Mark McKenzie, Chris Richards. Left back, Miles Robinson, Joe Scally. Midfield, I've got Sands, Acosta, Luca, Adams, McKinney, Musa. Wingers, I've got and Tillman. Sorry, I have Tillman still listed as my winger spot. Wingers, I've got Weah, Areola, Reyna, Pulisic, Aronson. Strikers, I've got Haji, Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Peacock. That's my 26.
So I got lost after McKenny. So it's Adams, McKenny, Musa, and Tillman.
Yes.
Okay, now give me everybody after that.
Wingers are Paul Areola, Tim Weah, Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, Brendan Aronson. And then strikers, I've got Haji, Jesus Ferreira, and Jordan Peacock.
I'm missing somebody then, because that's only 25 for me.
I mean, I don't know where. You want to read it back to me?
I got Turner, Stephen Johnson, Dest Cannon,
Yeah.
Zimmerman, Cameron Carter Vickers, McKenzie, Richards,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Robinson, Joe Scally,
Yeah.
James Sands, Acosta, Musa, Adams, McKinney, Tillman,
You're missing
Areola,
Luca. Luca.
Luca Della Torre. I figured that was it. You spoke too quickly. All
I'm
right.
sorry,
So
you can't keep up with me.
so my 26, Turner, Stephen Johnson, Zimmerman, CCV, McKenzie, Aaron Long, Anthony Robinson, Serginho Dest, Reggie Cannon. In the midfield, I'm going to take all seven of those guys. So give me Malik Tillman, Kellen Acosta, James Sands, Luca Della Torre, Yunus Musa. You need to be counting this for me because I'm not counting. Weston McKinney and Tyler Adams and Jackson Ewell. What?
How did he
Um,
get in there?
whoa. Oh, hello, sir. Um, on the wings, give me Areola, Weah, Gio, Christian, and Brendan. And up top, give me how many more do I have left? How many spaces?
I want to say you have four left.
All right, you need to count better
Why? Well, because
because
I think so far you've added every I think you've added the same number I have for each position, except left back you only have one instead of two. So I think you were one behind where I was.
so it's actually what I could do is just do this: is GK3, CB4, left back was 1, right back was 2, CMs were 7, wingers were 5, and that leaves me with strikers to be here.
Was it four?
I've got 4 spots. Look at you go.
You can bring four strikers.
Yeah, easy. P. Falk, Jesus, Haji Wright, and Brandon Vasquez.
It's a lot
You're
of
telling me
strikers.
you're telling me you would rather have where did we go wrong? Oh, the left backs. You took Joe Scally over Brandon Vasquez. I think you're out of your mind.
I don't think I need four strikers on my team.
Have you seen the way our strikers play? You absolutely need 4. You need 100 just to score 3 goals. Anyways,
I think you're fine with three, and if worst case scenario, magically all three of them got hurt, Tim Weah could play a striker.
Yeah, but that still isn't the answer. The answer is that you're taking Brandon Vasquez over Haji Wright if that's
You're just looking for any excuse to bring Brandon Vasquez.
literally. I'm not. He deserves it. Don't tell me that he doesn't.
I don't. I just think he got unlucky because there are guys ahead of him in better in. I guess I wouldn't say better form, but like matched form, but in better levels.
All right. So here's what I'm getting out of this: is you are a Euro snob. Confirmed.
Sure, sure. I can't be that much of a Euro snob. I put
You're
Josh Sargent at 5.
you're cut off from the podcast. 2 week ban. You get to show up and show your face, but you're muted the whole time. I'm
You
just gonna
put
talk.
you put Aaron Long in your 26. Your opinion is invalid.
Yeah, because I'm not a Euro snob. All
No,
right.
you're
Thanks.
just you're a Red Bull homer.
Quiet. Thanks everybody for listening along to this nonsense coming out of Connor's mouth. Hopefully you can ignore all that. Listen to what I had to say. If you liked it, make sure you give us a follow anywhere you get your podcast so you know when we post the next episode. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. These TikToks are going to be great. Make sure you go comment on them and tell Connor how wrong he is. Yeah, make sure you're leaving comments and interacting with us. It's the best part about this whole thing, and hopefully we can get on a better schedule over the next couple of weeks as school gets to settle in and work settles in and all that. Um, World Cup's 2 months away, so give us some predictions. Let us know who you think is going to move out of the groups, who's going to win it all. Tell us why it's the United States, and all that good stuff. So, Connor, you have anything else to say? Nope, didn't think so. Don't want to speak. You're done. You're cut off. Uh, Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.